Hello everyone and welcome back to my opinion. In this video I'll be previewing the third test of the series between India and England. Starting off with India, they won the previous game, but I thought they once again made life more difficult for themselves due to the negative tactics or the defensive tactics. There have been some changes in the squad. I'll be giving my views on those in just a moment. As for the 11 I've selected, I've gone with Rohit Sharma and Yashasvi Jaiswal to open the batting with Shubman Gill at number 3. Rajat Patidar at number 4, Sarfraz Khan at 5. I think Dhruv Jurel will make his debut, so he will bat at number 6. Ravindra Jadeja at number 7, Ravichandran Ashwin number 8, Kuldeep Yadav 9, Jasid Umrah 10, and Mohammad Siraj number 11. Starting off with a notable omission, and that is the omission of Shreyas Iyer. It's something that I don't quite understand in terms of he's been getting starts, but he's not been carrying on. And in terms of his test form, which has come under scrutiny, you've got to separate it, and I've said this a lot of the time from long back, you've got to separate it between overseas and or outside of Asia and in Asia. I've said from a long while back that in South Africa, in Australia, would he be the ideal number 5 of someone like, yes, he's not been doing well in domestic cricket as of now, but in terms of the attributes that he possesses, someone like an Ajinkya Rahane or KL Rahul has been fantastic off late. Whereas in Asia, I feel at number 5, which is his slot in this batting lineup, there is no one better to attack the spinners and demoralize the opposition than Shreyas Iyer. And just because he's been getting starts and not carrying on, well, you've backed a few other players when they have been doing slightly worse even at home than Shreyas Iyer has been doing, or even just about the same amount. And in the end, you've seen the rewards. So I feel if you're picking on attribute, is there anyone even in India who is as good as Shreyas Iyer or as proven as Shreyas Iyer in terms of attacking the spinners at the international level? And especially if you're thinking the surface on offer in Rajkot against his England attack, which Shreyas Iyer have had a field day in this game, I think he would have done. In my view, it's a backward step to drop Shreyas Iyer from a test squad in Asia, an ODI squad or a test squad in Asia, because of the good that there would be when he does go. You saw in the World Cup how he played, and he's not out of form in my view, just not converting his starts. So dropping him in a 5-match series at home, I think it's a ridiculous decision, especially when you've got a game here in Rajkot against his attack. You would have fancied his chances. And now on Patidar and Sarfraz. So in the and you would have heard what I said in my previous video regarding the second test, where I'd said even though Patidar batted at 3 in the India A side, he's for some reason batted at 5 behind Shreyas Iyer in the second test. In this case, in the first test against the England Lions in Ahmedabad and the second test against South Africa A in Benoni, Patidar batted at number 3, Sarfraz Khan batted at 4. But based on what they did in the previous game, imagine how it would look if you've got a guy who bats ahead of the other person in closer to a domestic game, and in international cricket, Sarfraz bats at 4, Patidar bats 2 places down, not to a difference between 3 and 5. It would be a joke. That's why I've gone at Patidar at 4 and Sarfraz at 5 because of logic. But if they go with what they did in the previous game, I mean, it begs a thought that do they analyze where the player batted in those particular games, or do they just think, right, he scored a lot of runs, let's just bring him in? So if Sarfraz Khan bats ahead of Patidar in this game, I think it shows bad on whoever made that call. And then on the bowlers, so I've gone with Kuldeep Yadav ahead of Akshar Patel because Akshar hasn't been as effective in this series with the ball, even though he's been very good with the bat. But considering the surplus on offer, I don't feel India will need more batting than what they've got in the 11. And the reason why I've gone with Kuldeep in terms of bowling is because, and I'd said this even during the World Cup as well, in terms of attacking and defensive bowlers, you've got Jadeja, defensive bowler. Ashwin has both skills. You can attack and defend. Kuldeep Yadav being an attacking bowler. Akshar hasn't been as effective in this series. So if he plays and you've got Ashwin going for at times a bit of runs, pretend if they attack him, Jadeja defensive bowler, Akshar defensive bowler, you'll struggle to get wickets all the time. Where even on the surface, spinners get wickets. They get more wickets on the paces, but they bowl lots of overs. I feel Kuldeep Yadav being that attacking threat, Ashwin being versatile, Jadeja being a defensive bowler, that'd be a better variety. I'll say this again, if you put the fielders out to someone like a Kuldeep Yadav, even though he's an attacking bowler, he will not be anywhere near as effective, but I feel he will provide something different. And on the seamers. Now, I've said this before, I don't think Bumrah needs to play a single home test. But in this case, you're playing him because of two reasons. One, the defensive tactics mean he has to make the breakthroughs in India, which is a bit sad. Secondly, you've got no other options. They've dropped Avesh Khan, they've selected Akash Deep. Okay, I mean, I don't know what to say about that. And you've still got Mukesh Kumar there. So, Siraj back in the side, yes, it's a good call, but Bumrah does not have to play a home test, honestly, with the talent available in India. And in my view, I'm going to talk about the selection of grounds as well, where you're looking to rest Bumrah for the fourth test. This ties into the selection of the players as well. You're looking to rest Bumrah for the fourth test. If you somehow manage to lose this game because of the defensive tactics, he's not going to be rested in the fourth test. Meaning, if you're going to rest Bumrah in the third, ideally after you played the first two tests, he should have been rested in the third. I reckon if India were 2-0 up, he may have been rested in this game. Someone like Umesh Yadav had to have been in the squad. He could have been playing along with Mohammad Siraj. He'd be quick enough to bowl on the surface, and he's been doing very well in domestic cricket and internationally when he's bowled at home. He's been fantastic. Instead, you've not picked him, you've not picked Bhuvneshwar, and you're just picking anyone that you think, alright, let's just bring them in. When would they be effective on the surface? No, they wouldn't be. And you've got to play the guy who you're sweating on his injury situation a lot of the time. So I don't get that at all. So I think India will win this game. The side still does look a strong side, but they've got to help themselves. Now in England, I know Rehan Ahmed, there's been a visa issue regarding him, but he wouldn't have started in my 11 for this game because he's been going for quite a few runs in the series thus far. And I feel, especially on a surface like this, if you can't maintain control, even if he can be a wicket taker at times, he may struggle. Which is why I've gone with the same top 7 as England have fielded in the previous 2 tests. And I think Tom Hartley can play Rehan Ahmed's role with a bat at number 8. I've gone with Mark Wood to take his place, where him and James Anderson will be the 2 seamers. Shoaib Bashir, Tom Hartley and Joe Root will be the 3 spinners. Jack Leach has been ruled out of the series because of the injury that he picked up in the first test, and they haven't named a replacement. So I don't think there are any selection conundrums for England unless they create some for themselves. If they think, right, we'll back a young player, we'll put him in, then they'll be selecting the wrong 11 for the conditions in my view, and then they'll create problems for themselves. Where if you don't play 2 seamers, and especially if you don't play Mark Wood in this game against an Indian side where, yes, it's a bit inexperienced if you look at the middle order, but they'll be fancying their chances on a surface like this. If they don't play Mark Wood, then England may find things difficult if India win, especially if India win the toss and choose to bat first. Once again, for England, it's a case where, especially on this type of surface, with their approach, there'll be runs on offer. They've got to be sensible. And it's not that I'm talking down on this approach a lot of the time. It may seem like that, but if they attack, what I said in the previous video, and especially about what they did in the second innings of the first test with that, you attack early on, because of the defensive tactics of the opposition, the field will be spread out. And then you can milk the ball around and maintain that for over, especially on a surface where it's quite good to bat. So it's quite good to bat on, and I feel the England batsmen will enjoy batting in this game as long as they apply themselves. And finally, comparing 11s. Looking at the top 4 for each side, for India, you've got Rohit Sharma, SSV Jaiswal, Shubman Gill and Rajat Patidar compared with Zach Crowley, Ben Duckett, Ollie Pope and Joe Root for England. The English opening combination has put on 50 runs or more consistently at a very good run rate. In terms of personnel, who can own the stage on their day, I feel India would take that in terms of Rohit Sharma. Even though he hasn't had a big score this series, he's Rohit Sharma. I said Jaiswal had a fantastic series of improving that thus far. On a good surface to bat on, I feel both sets of openers will be fancying their chances. In terms of personnel, I'd still say India, but both sides can be fairly satisfied going into this game. Number 3, Shubman Gill versus Ollie Pope. Shubman Gill scored a fantastic century in the second innings of the previous game. If you're asking me whether I think Ollie Pope would have another substantial outing in this series after his first game heroics, I don't know. But on a good surface to bat on, I think both of those could equal out. And number 4, Rajat Patidar versus Joe Root, where Joe Root hasn't had that big score in the series thus far, but he's a world-class player. So I feel Rohit Sharma, Joe Root cancel out. The other 3 also cancel out, so the top 4 could be equal. Now number 5, 6, 7 for India, Sarfraz Khan, Dhruv Jurel and Ravindra Jadeja versus Johnny Bairstow, Ben Stokes and Ben Foakes. Now Bairstow hasn't been in too much form, as opposed to Sarfraz Khan has been fantastic in domestic cricket, so I think he takes that. Dhruv Jurel versus Ben Stokes. On this surface, Ben Stokes will be fancying his chances. Dhruv Jurel also can play the attacking game. He's someone that averages 46 opening the batting in domestic cricket and can also play aggressively at number 6. So he's a great player to have in the side. We're finding his chances as well. So I'd still say Ben Stokes because we saw what we've seen. I think a couple of knocks, of 70 in the first game, the 47 the previous game, where he'll be looking to counterattack at number 6. So you could say Ben Stokes takes the edge in that. And now Jadeja versus Ben Foakes. Even though Ben Foakes can occupy the crease, Jadeja in the home series, I feel his batting, especially in red ball cricket, it would be the best out of the 3 formats that he plays. That's why I would still say he takes a kick because of the experience that he has got. Ashwin versus Tom Hartley. Even though Tom Hartley has been going aggressively when he's walked out to bat, I'd still say Ashwin takes that because of his experience. And then you've got the bowlers where Kuldeep Yadav versus Shoaib Bashir and Tom Hartley. You'd think the Indian spinners would take that. And on the seamers, Mark Wood, James Anderson versus Bumrah, Siraj, you'd think Bumrah and Siraj would take it, even though Anderson was very good in the first 2 games, but I don't think this kind of surface would be to his liking. So overall, I'd still say a slightly inexperienced Indian side in some parts has the edge. But as long as they don't make things difficult for themselves because of the negative tactics and throwing their wickets away, then things should be fine for them in this game. 2 milestones. Well, a milestone from either side. Ben Stokes, 100 test matches for him. He's been a fantastic player, and he's done good things with this England side since he's taken up the captaincy. Be finding his chances in this game. And Ashwin, he's on 499, on the verge of 500 wickets. He's been a legend. And in my view, he should be starting in all formats for India. That hasn't been the case, unfortunately, but I'll keep on vouching that he should be starting for India in all formats of the game. But at least he can get to 100 tests in this series and breach the 500 wicket landmark. So congratulations to both those players. And let's see what happens in this game. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, share with your friends. Remember, this is my opinion. What's yours?